Welcome everybody to Crazy Affinity Dual Blades build. I'm the 7th sword and now it's time. As always, really quickly, spoiler alert, going to be talking about endgame stuff, so if you do not want to be spoiled on what's in the game because the game is still very new, please do not continue. So I believe the name is pretty self-explanatory, but this is a Crazy Affinity Dual Blade build. It is designed on always maintaining your affinity no matter what is going on, and you're going to be at 100% pretty much 100% of the time. So first we're going to get into the equipment. For the dual blades, of course, I have the Nightwings because they have the highest base affinity in the game. Now I did put Affinity Boost 2 on there, and that is necessary for this build because it's going to help you keep that crazy affinity going. It does have one level 2 decoration slot. For the helmet, I have the Zenogre helm. The inherent skills it possesses are Latent Power and Weakness Exploit. It's got one level 1 decoration slot. For the chest piece, I have the Tobi Kadachi Mail. It comes with one level 3 decoration slot, and it has Mind's Eye level 1 inherently on it. For the gauntlets, I have the Barioth Vambraces. It's got one level 2 decoration slot, and inherently it has Quick Sheath at level 1 and Maximum Might at level 1. For the coil, I have the Golden Obi. It comes with one level 1 decoration slot. The inherent skills are Heroics, Critical Boost level 1, and Maximum Might level 1. For the greaves, I have the Golden Hakama. It's got 2 level 1 decoration slots and has Critical Boost level 2 and Latent Power inherently on it. For the Petal Ace, I've got the Demon Petal Ace 3 because we're going for affinity, so if you increase your damage out in the field, you get even more damage. For the Talisman, I just have a Talisman that has 2 level 2 slot decorations. Pretty much any Talisman with 2 level 2 slots will work here. I was hoping to find one that had maybe Mind's Eye or something on it. I'm still looking for a better Talisman, but as long as you have a Talisman that has 2 level 2 slots on there, you can get the crazy affinity going. Alright, so here are all the decorations that I have. On the dual blades, I have an Expert Jewel. On the helmet, I have one Brace Jewel. On the Tobi Kadachi Mail, I've got an Expert Jewel. On the Barioth Vambraces, I have an Expert Jewel. On the Golden Obi, I have a Grinder Jewel. On the Golden Hakama, I've got 2 Grinder Jewels. And on my Fatal Tempest Talisman, I have 2 Expert Jewels. As you can see, I am currently standing here with affinity at 100%, but as soon as I start draining my stamina, it goes down to 86%. So you have 86% innate affinity at all times, no matter what. However, let's look at the skills now. So Critical Eye is maxed at 7. That is giving us the 40% affinity boost. Critical Boost is maxed out at level 3. This increases the damage dealt by critical hits to 40% from the base 25%. Speed Sharpening is at level 3, so you can sharpen very quickly to maintain your white sharpness and blue sharpness. You want to stay in between those two. Now these next 3 skills, Latent Power at level 2, Maximum Might at level 2, and Weakness Exploit at level 1 are going to help you maintain 100% affinity pretty much at all times during a fight. Latent Power at level 2, while active, increases affinity by 20% and reduces stamina depletion by 30%. Latent Power activates after 2 minutes and 45 seconds in the fight, or if you continually attack, you can get it to activate, I believe, in like a minute and a half, something like that is the fastest, maybe like a minute and 25 seconds. You'll probably be able to proc it with this build in about between a minute and 50 and 2 minutes realistically. Next, let's talk about Maximum Might. Maximum Might, while active, increases your affinity by 20%. Maximum Might activates when you've kept your stamina full for a period of time. So anybody out there who's seen my Archdemon mode build, this is essentially the better version of that build. You will be going in and out of Archdemon mode, but you're not going to be relying on it like the other build, where you kind of want to stay in it and not use your stamina. You're actually going to be switching between Demon mode and Archdemon mode a lot more often in this version of the build. And then finally, we've got Weakness Exploit at level 1. Any attack that hits a weak spot increases the affinity by 15%. This means as long as you are targeting a weak spot, you are always doing 100% affinity with this build no matter what is going on, because you are at 86% stock. So that 15% gets you to that 100. Again, as long as you're hitting a weak point. That's what's really cool about this build, is that even if you're not hitting a weak point, but Maximum Might is effective because you're in Archdemon mode, you're still doing 100%. Once Latent Power activates, you can just go ham in Feral Demon mode and just keep attacking no matter what you're doing, and every hit is going to be 100% affinity, and being boosted by a critical boost. The rest of these skills down here are pretty much bonuses from the armor and the talisman. Mind's Eye is actually something I'm trying to build into this one. I would like to get it to level 2. So you could sacrifice one Critical Eye jewel for a Mind's Eye jewel to get it to level 2 because the chest piece has level 1, and you will never get deflected. Although if you are constantly doing demon mode attacks, you're not really being deflected that much, but still, doing more damage to those hard targets and not being deflected is pretty nice. Flinch free is actually something that I purposefully put on here just because if you are going to be in archdemon mode, you do not want to get hit out of your combos and things like that. Flinch free is always great if you are playing with people online. If you are not playing with people online and you're just doing solo battles, you don't have to have flinch free on there, but if you do play online a lot, I do recommend having flinch free just to make sure you do not get knocked out of your setups and combos and things like that. Alright, now let's actually see what kind of numbers we can get on the Toad Adversary here with this build. Now please keep in mind that the Toad Adversary actually takes 100% of the damage you dish out. It is essentially a sponge and it's weak to everything you throw at it. So you'll see what your maximum damage potential is if you're hitting at 100% on the weakest part of a monster. Now, you have to keep in mind that not every single monster will actually have that kind of weakness or even take that kind of damage on its weak point. For example, if I go into the Hunter's Notes and I go to Rajang and I go to the physiology, you can see there's a 65 underneath the blade icon, the sword icon, for the head. Now I'm interpreting that to be you do 65% of your damage, your top damage, to the head, and that's the weakest point. But then if you look, it's also weak to ice. So if you brought an ice element, you'd be getting up to 95% damage there in some capacity. But I digress. Let's just go ahead and see what output we can do on this guy. It's a lot of damage. As you can see, you are always doing those critical hits. Now that latent power is active, even if I go over here, every single hit will be a critical hit. Now this is obviously not ideal, but being dual blades, you're going to be dashing around, dodging a lot. You're going to be hitting parts that you're not necessarily strong against during the fight. But now you're doing just a little bit more damage every single time, no matter where you're hitting. I would say that when latent power is not active, you want to be using archdemon mode more often just so you can activate latent power a little bit quicker. And as you can see, I just went down to green sharpness, so let's sharpen. 1, and you are good to go. And remember, as long as you're hitting a weak point, you are always doing 100% affinity. And then when your stamina is full in archdemon mode, even if you're not hitting a weak point, you will be doing the 100% affinity once it procs right there. See? Because, I mean, let's be honest, sometimes you're also going for a part, you want to break a part of the monster that isn't a weak spot because you're trying to go for a specific material. So you need to do a little bit more damage, and this will help you break that part a little bit more effectively with those dual blades, especially if it's not weak against it. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. That is the crazy Affinity dual blades build. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm not going to do a monster fight for this one because I was able to showcase its effects right here in the training grounds. The Hellfire dual blades, you cannot activate Hellfire in training grounds as far as I know, so that's why I wanted to showcase a full fight so you could see how it works out. But I'm pretty sure you can gauge how this one's going to work out. You're just going to be seeing those red flashes all of the time. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.